That's the one I asked for the meeting with her.
I'm not sure. Is there someone, do you practice with someone with the last name Ross?
Valerie Ross is
Okay.
is the city's zoning attorney.
Okay, let me see if I can.
So,
Not sure.
so
I
what you're
would-
saying is you didn't receive any corresponding or supplemental information that might have been provided by Ms. Barber regarding your complaint?
Correct.
Okay.
And I assume that she's seen the complaint that I filed.
She absolutely has seen the complaint that you filed, but I don't.
Correct. I have not seen anything in regards to her response.
I don't think you. Did you provide any supporting document with that particular complaint?
Yes, you did.
Do you have it?
Yes, I did.
So if you could just ask Ms.
Hold on just a second.
Ms.
Because
Holliday to provide
if
that
you
to
need
me.
to respond,
Correct.
do you want to respond now or do you want to respond in writing?
I would prefer to respond in writing.
Because I can give you that privilege, but I believe that we asked the questions that we needed to ask with regards to that. But I will not limit you in providing information if that's what you want to do. However, do you know when you are going to be submitting that?
I think that my response to what she said, while I certainly appreciate the issue that she raised with regards to the community meeting, that the city has a CZIM, what's called a CZIM meeting, that is ran by the city. The notice that was sent out and the issues that she has raised with regards to them certainly are appropriate things for her to raise at the city council meeting,
Okay.
at which time she could have then asked either for those meetings to be rehat, or she could have asked, or she could have just said, I want to deny it. Whatever the case was that she wanted to do, the appropriate time for that would have been at the city council meeting, not at the planning commission meeting, because that is an advisory board, and she got up and spoke when they called for opposition to come and speak about the application, and then went through a complete dialogue with regards to her issues and concerns about the city and not having a chance to review with the new properties that have been annexed into the city, and she went into a long dialogue with that. And I think if you saw on both applications, not only my application, she also did the same thing with the special land use permit application that was filed by the woman who was trying to get the personal care home. So it didn't have anything specifically to do just with the issues with notice to the public hearing, because she spoke not only against my action, but she also spoke in opposition to that special land use permit application as well.
And so I just want to be clear. Your concern is that the city council member is at the individual meetings versus using her platform to voice her opposition
Correct.
during the city council meeting.
That is where she is
Okay.
to set forth her opposition.
So-
It sounds like she has an issue with staff, which, with regards to at least my specific matter, that she had a issue with how the public hearing notices that went out, that she had an issue with regards to that, and instead of addressing that issue directly with them, and then using her platform at City Council to make direction, that she chose instead to come to a planning commission meeting and stand in opposition, which simply is inappropriate and an inappropriate time to do that. And so from my perspective, she has undermined the process in and of itself, because that is not appropriate.
Okay.
That would mean all of the council
Here's our
members can come to
concern,
that.
and here's our concern, as we've discussed it. We did see this meeting. Ms. Barber was not the only one who spoke out in opposition.
Oh, that's fine.
And we have to then determine whether what she did was unethical to a point of influence of, and this is why I asked you were any leaders were there, a leader who would then have turn around and move on her behalf. Okay, if there were other, we would then be speculating that she influenced this particular leader, and I'm just saying, just use one person for example. We would have to speculate that she influenced this person. Is this person here? that she influenced them? Because there were other people who spoke out in opposition. Okay, so even if she did speak on behalf of her constituents at that time, it doesn't take us far enough to say that she was in some type of, she was acting unethically in her position.
So this is what I'll say, and I want this to be very clear to Councilmember Barber, because I've dealt with you on other matters.
Hold on, you can speak to us. We understand.
And no, out of respect for her.
I got you.
Okay.
I understand.
This is not something personal for me.
Right.
This is professional for me.
I understand.
I've been a land use and zoning attorney for over 25 years. And the integrity of the process is important. And if there was any complaint with regards to how notices went out or anything like that, which just happened.
Your mic went off. Did you press it?
Mistakes happen.
Thank you.
In other jurisdictions where those kind of issues have occurred, then you will see the council member or the commissioner at the public hearing that they are tasked with indicate that there was some anomaly in either the hearing process or the notice process, or that you need them to go back and have another hearing, or you want the process needs to, start back afresh. Whatever that is, the appropriate time for that is at the city council meeting.
Okay.
It is not at the planning commission meeting where you, as an elected official who is making the final decision, comes to influence those who are there at that meeting to rule in a manner that supports your position. That is my position on it. Now, maybe you all feel that you all can't cover that does not constitute an ethical violation. I get that. If that's the decision you all make, I will respect that decision. But I want it to be clear, not only to you all, but to Councilmember Barber, that simply is not appropriate.
So you would like for our recommendation to be then to avoid any conflict of interest, to avoid any sign of or appearance of being unethical, to have a council member not speak up at an individual meeting, but to instead voice their opinion of whether good or bad on their platform.
Absolutely.
At city council.
Absolutely.
However, you do understand that it would be for me an option to state if they would want to have their constituents there, to make it known to get their constituents out.
Absolutely.
Versus her speaking, she can be there. You do understand that.
She can be
what
present
you're
at the
saying
meeting,
is
but she is
don't voice an opinion.
absolutely
I got you.
that is not
Okay.
appropriate. I was at a city council meeting in the city of South Fulton, and there were 2 city council members who attended the planning commission meeting. They sat in the very front row. They said nothing.
It's not unreasonable, Ms. Battle. We understand you. I just wanted you to make sure that, we did review it.
Understood.
We cannot find that she acted unethically at that point, but we do understand that it would be best, in the best interest of everyone.
Absolutely. And that really is all that I'm trying to achieve. It is a process that has legal implications. And when we are going through the process, everyone wants to be treated fairly. I understand that she wants her constituents to be informed and to be notified, and that is fine. And if I have failed in that moment, I have no problem going back and revisiting or doing whatever I need to do in order to rectify that. But the time to do it, I've never in my 25 years of doing this have ever seen a council member or a commissioner come to a planning commission meeting, and when they call for opposition, that person stands up and talks in any way, shape, or form. It's simply not
Understood.
appropriate. And so for the integrity of the process, I felt that this was the only forum, because when I asked her to recuse herself and sent the letter for that purpose, she indicated that she would, to others, because I never heard back, that she would not do that. So the only platform that I would have to be able to voice my issues and concerns would be this one. And so that is why I have done so.
And has that vote taken place?
The vote has not, because I've asked for it to be deferred
Okay.
until this session or whatever decision you all made was over, so that I knew how to advise my clients in terms of how to proceed.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
So that's all I'll have to say on it,
Okay.
and whatever you all decide is fine.
Would you still like to submit something? I mean, you don't have to.
I've said all that I have
Okay.
to say. I mean, I'm not, trust me, the last thing I want to do as a zoning attorney is file an ethics complaint against a person who's voting on things that I have to continue
understand.
to bring forward. So you have to know that this was very difficult for me to have to even do, because I still have to come before Councilmember Barber and the other members of the council on things that are coming
plead
up
your
in
case.
in her district. So you would have to know
Mm-hmm.
that this was not what I wanted to do, but I did not feel that I was getting a voice to understand how we got to this moment and why it is so important not to do what was happening.
And as long as you know that anything we recommend goes to city council, then they would have to vote on that
Absolutely.
recommendation. Okay, or accept it, I'm sorry.
Thank you. And
Ms.
so I'm
Barber,
going to go.
please briefly.
I will. Again, it is not my intent to violate any codes at all, but I will continue representing the folks who elected me to represent them. In this case, again, there would be no need for me to speak at either the Planning Commission meeting or the community zoning meeting that the city had. Had staff and the developer been held accountable for ensuring that they met the requirements of notifying all of the stakeholders who live within 500 feet. I was only notified, and it's the homeowner that notified me just the night before, in which I did send the email along with the copy of the letter via text that was sent to me to staff, asking them, this date is wrong, or has it already passed? They're going to reschedule it. But as you know, a lot of my emails and communications are ignored by staff members. They're being told to do it. It is what I claimed to you all last year during my first complaint against the mayor. There is a lot of interference. All I want to do is serve the best way that I know how. I'm not going to stop. Now, I did receive the letter that Battle Law sent me requesting that I recuse myself from voting on this particular matter. And my response was, I would not. My vote, whether in opposition or approval, has had no impact on the final outcome of any development proposal that has come before this council. So whether I abstain, approve, oppose, my one vote has not determined the outcome of any development proposals that have been submitted to the council over the last 3 or 4 years, because there has been a consensus vote of 3 council members. That doesn't include me. So I explained that to the city attorney and Valerie Ross, the zoning attorney, when they forwarded me the letter asking me to recuse myself. I was offended, actually, because they know. Ms. Battle knows as well. My one vote means nothing. It is not going to determine the outcome of any of the development proposals. History, that's just the history of all of it. But I will continue representing the people the best way that I know how. It is not my intent to break any laws, any codes.
Okay, and we hear you and we understand you, but do you understand the appearance of it? And
Again, I wouldn't have had to attend any of the meetings had the rescheduled date been communicated back to me.
did you hear, correct, did you hear Ms. Battle state that has she known that it was inappropriate or what didn't go out right, if you had contacted her office?
Oh, I did.
Okay, so
They
that
were
happened.
aware. They were aware that those dates.
Was it prior to the meeting, ma'am? No. So did she know that
No.
your constituents did not get appropriate notice before you attended or before the meeting?
So again, the letter included a date that had already passed. That's why I attended the meeting. When is the developer going to hold a meeting with the homeowners? I had only had one day before the community zoning meeting. What more was I supposed to do? The accountability is not with me, it's with staff, but I can't make them do anything. So.
And I would suggest that you don't think that your vote doesn't count. I mean, you say you won't recuse yourself because your vote, you got one vote, but your vote doesn't count. That doesn't.
No,
that doesn't.
my one vote has not ever determine the outcome
But what if
of
it does in
any-
this case?
My one vote has never in the past 2-3 years determined the outcome.
Okay.
It has not.
All right.
They know that. The city attorneys and the zoning attorney, they know that. For me to recuse myself, it was actually offensive to me.
Well, I want to say, board members, I don't believe that that was in the complaint, that that was what she was requesting.
No, I think it was
So-
only that the dates were not correct.
We're talking about that, but that wasn't in her complaint as a form of,
No, and I was wondering, Ms. Battle, you said you did not receive any information, but I have information here that says that you sent a letter to Mr. Washington, and then Mr. Washington and Ms. Ross had a conversation with Councilmember Barber. So did you not receive the information that they discussed?
From her, what I heard was through the city council.
I see.
Through the attorneys, that she had indicated that she would not
I see.
recuse herself.
Okay, thank you.
So, thank you.
okay. All right. So, board, at this